the heck is going on? We're seeing headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun.
So they sent over this mushroom extract, and she started taking these little capsules, just 10 of them a day. And within about a month, she was feeling some relief. She was feeling a little bit better. Within 2 months, she was feeling dramatically better. Well, 4 months later, she's feeling back to normal. She goes back to Sloan Kettering. Sloan Kettering was surprised to see her because they had only given her a few months to live.
Right.
They ran some tests and found there was no more evidence. There were no more bad cells that they could detect.
Wow.
And so at that point, they were blown away by this discovery. They asked for this strain of this mushroom. That's actually where the first study started here in the United States, was through Sloan Kettering. And since then, there are over 400 published studies. Once the immune system has the support that it needs, it's able to resolve, repair, rebalance everything that's happening in the body, from the smallest of concerns all the way up to the most serious of concerns, like what Simon's mom was dealing with.
Well, we've been through a lot the past few weeks, and this interview hits right on time, as we really need to keep our immune system strong. As information flows through the airwaves into our mind, having a huge effect on our body, and we will be amazed to hear more testimonies about mushrooms today from LT Pet Club, 247.com. Just love having them on board and listening and hearing the amazing transformation on our pets from Dr. Jerry today, and its own immune system. But first, I have a few things that I have to hit on the news so that we have it going into this Friday, especially since I'll be traveling through the weekend and heading off to the cruise ship. Want to make sure we cover as much as we can before heading out. So I've got some updates here, and then we'll play a few clips from the EPA, Lee Zeldin, I believe, and Pete Hegseth. You're going to be amazed by those after we conclude the interview with LT Pet Club, 247.com. So first, tech stocks and industrial stocks, and NASDAQ, if you guys didn't know, hit an all-time record high. President Trump put this out. Crypto through the roof. NVIDIA's up 47% since Trump tariffs. The USA has taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. The country is now back. A great credit. Fed should rapidly lower the rate to reflect this strength. The USA should be at the top of the list, and no inflation. And folks, I just want to let you know also we'll be releasing another interview with Dr. Kirk Elliott this Sunday to go over more on this. Judge blocks Trump's birthright citizenship despite the Supreme Court ruling. That party that's screaming no kings. Well, His Majesty, a federal judge, has blocked President Trump's birthright citizenship order despite the Supreme Court ruling. So, of course, what did we have happen Thursday? Again, they barred President Trump's administration from enforcing his executive order limiting birthright citizenship nationwide after the U.S. Supreme Court restricted this. So the U.S. District Judge Joseph LaPlante in Concord, New Hampshire, made the ruling after immigrant rights advocates implored him to grant class action status to a lawsuit they filed seeking to represent any babies whose citizenship status would be threatened by implementation of Trump's directive. Now, I wanted to bring something in here from Lauren Lee on RFK Jr. You guys might have seen some things going on with vaccines possibly getting approved and this, that, and the other. But I wanted to read through this. I think it's important, especially since we're on our health today. 6 major medical groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, just sued HHS for illegal conduct on vaccine approval. And RFK Jr. is smiling. Why? They just walked into his trap. Once he's talked about, something that he's talked about for years. So here's the game plan. Lately, some in the medical freedom world have questioned why RFK Jr. hasn't already pulled COVID shots from the market. But it's not that simple. If he moved too fast, pharma would hit back hard and win. Instead, he's following a careful strategy that he's talked about at length for years. RFK Jr. has said it plainly over and over. There is a rule in federal court called the Daubert rule. RFK Jr. has said it plainly over and over. Say you think Coca-Cola made you obese. You can't sue Coca-Cola unless there's at least a critical mass of studies, maybe 20 to 30, that say that's what it does. Once you get the critical mass, then you go to a jury. Once enough science is out there, the lawyers are going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to be representing 1 million kids with diabetes, and the company is going to say, we're not going to make this product anymore. So that's the key. His goal, achieve a critical mass of replicable studies that can survive every legal test. So when pharma finally stands trial, they lose. And RFK Jr. knows how to win in court better than anyone. So what counts as critical mass? Let's look at Daubert versus Merrill Dow of 1993. The court protected the pharmaceutical company despite what most would consider overwhelming evidence. Numerous animal studies, substantial in vitro data, and independent studies, expert testimony, personal witness testimony from harm. Another case, Zoloft from Pfizer, allegedly caused congenital heart defects, and other birth defects when taken during pregnancy. The evidence presented by plaintiffs was substantial. Multiple epidemiological studies, numerous animal studies, case reports, and meta-analysis. The court still sided with Pfizer. Vioxx, Merck's, was also protected under Daubert. So you had all that thrown out. Merck won. That's where the lawsuit comes in. That's the battlefield RFK Jr. is walking into. He knows he has to prepare for it with military precision. To defeat pharma, he needs ironclad replicable science and multiple other lower-level verdicts on his side. So great thing there for our health and more. Now I want to get into the interview with LTPetClub247.com. Here we go. Well, it's great to have Kristen Ludlow with us once again. LTPetClub247.com. You guys know below this video, or if you're listening on the podcast, click on that link and you'll be able to follow along with us today and see the amazing products that have changed so many lives. Thank you, Kristen, for joining us again. Man, just so many changes for so many people since you jumped on board with us.
Oh, goodness. Thanks for having me back. And we're just so grateful for you and this community and all that you're doing in the world and all that God's doing through you. We're really grateful to be a part of it. So thank you for allowing us to come on and sharing your platform with us.
Yeah. It's been crazy times. I mean, we have been, before we hit record, just talking about the whirlwind of information that's been flowing in. We could say for the past month, but I'll tell you, since President Trump entered the scene, it's been hard to keep up with the information. And just today, keeping up, it was just one positive thing after another that seems to happen for our country, for the whole earth. Just one big thing after another for our country. I don't know, it's just been pretty exciting. And then, on top of that, we're looking at our health. And you have been, and your team has just been showing many changes for not only our human side, but we talk about our pets. And you guys have been phenomenal. And we've just watched so many changes happen in our pets along the way with these the mushrooms. And anyway, I wanted for those that might be new or listening in to just kind of hear a little bit of background about LT Pet Club 247 and what you guys are all about and what you've been doing.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy you're talking about all this because it does feel like things have been accelerated right now. And we're just moving in the right direction, going at the speed of light. And it's just so exciting that we get to live during this time and witness it and be a part of it. And, we have this MAHA, Make America Healthy Again going on, but we kind of have our own little MAHA movement with Pet Club, Make Animals Healthy Again. So it's been a lot of fun, just watching the growth and the progression of where everything's been going and just meeting incredible people along the way that have devoted their entire lives to making America healthy again. And so to hear their voices now and hearing their stories and all that God has done through their lives and their testimonials, it's been really empowering. And like LT said, what we're working with, this mushroom that we're working with, is not some new thing. I mean, it's been around for thousands of years. We traditionally have used it thousands of years ago. It's just something that we're now rediscovering. And God has given us everything that we need, just abundantly growing in nature for us. And when we return back to that, when things get returned back to their natural order, it allows animals and people to just live much better, more full, more overall well lives. And so about 30 years ago, one of our partners with Pet Club 24/7, his mom was diagnosed with a stage 4 condition in her lung, and they had exhausted all their options, tried every plan possible, and nothing seemed to work. So they essentially told her she just had a couple months to live, and told her she was being seen by Sloan Kettering, and they said, reach out to your family and get your affairs in order. And so her son, Simon, was reaching out to family members. Well, his cousin was a physician in Japan. And when he heard what she was going through, he said, hey, I want to send you this mushroom. We have a really pure and potent strain of this mushroom called the Coriolus versicolor mushroom. We've perfected the extraction process. I'd like for you to give it to your mom. And what it'll do is it'll give her some immune support, and let's see what her own immune system is able to do for her. And of course, when you've tried everything, you're open to any options, especially when they're natural like that. So they sent over this mushroom extract, and she started taking these little capsules, just 10 of them a day. And within about a month, she was feeling some relief. She was feeling a little bit better. Within 2 months, she was feeling dramatically better. Well, 4 months later, she's feeling back to normal. She goes back to Sloan Kettering. Sloan Kettering was surprised to see her because they had only given her a few months to live.
Right,
and
right.
They ran some tests and found there was no more evidence. There were no more bad cells that they could detect.
Wow.
And so at that point, they were blown away by this discovery. They asked for this strain of this mushroom. That's actually where the first study started here in the United States, was through Sloan Kettering. And since then, there are over 400 published studies from Sloan Kettering, Harvard University, MD Anderson, Loma Linda. I could go on and on and on. There are hundreds of them. But what they've found is this whole food, it feeds the immune system. And once the immune system has the support that it needs, it's able to resolve, repair, rebalance everything that's happening in the body, from the smallest of concerns all the way up to the most serious of concerns, like what Simon's mom was dealing with.
Right.
So, of course, as any good son would do, when they had anybody that they knew or cared about that was going through any type of health concerns, they were recommending this mushroom, and they were finding these recoveries for all different types of cases. And so after a while, they thought, it's taken 2 to 3 weeks to come from Japan. We need to get this into people's hands faster. So they worked out a deal with this cousin. They brought it to this pure and potent strain to the United States so they could process it and manufacture it here. And that's how the Inforce started coming into the United States. Well, fast forward several years, some of the partners of Pet Club, Steve lost his dog to cancer. Gino lost his dog to cancer, and 2 of Steve's daughters lost their dogs to cancer, all within the same year in 2017.
Oh, wow.
So they were feeling really upset about it and frustrated. They kind of started looking into what was happening, because it can't be a coincidence. They were ages 4 to 11. This couldn't be a coincidence. And they found that through a documentary called Pet Fooled, and through several other studies, that a lot of the foods, treats, and toys that we're giving our pets is actually toxic for them. And it's causing a lot of different problems that our pets are dealing with. So they thought, man, we've seen what this has done for people. I wonder if this would be safe for animals. And sure enough, they found a study by the University of Pennsylvania that dogs that were given this mushroom actually were living 2 to 3 times longer than the dogs that weren't given the mushroom. So not only was it safe for them, it's actually beneficial. So that was the divine idea that they were given by God to start Pet Club 24/7 and make a way for them to start getting this mushroom into our pet system for dogs, cats, and horses. And we just had the most amazing experiences. Our friends, Kurt and Gail, had an almost 15-year-old husky at the time that they had posted on social media that they were sad that they were going to have to say goodbye to her. And we reached out, and they said, well, we took her to the vet. The vet said she's lived a long life. Most huskies only live to be about 12 years old. She was almost 15. She had a really bad autoimmune condition where her paw pads would peel off. Her eyes were white and cloudy. Her fur would come out in clumps. She was in a lot of pain. She could hardly walk. But something in their spirit told them that she wasn't ready yet. She was still eating. She was still showing signs of life. And so they said, let's just take her home, keep her comfortable for this next few months that we have with her, got a couple $100 worth of narcotics and steroids to keep her comfortable.
Right.
And when they had posted they were going to say goodbye, that just so happened to be when we got these little treats in the mail with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom called mush puppies. So we reached out to them. Those are them. So we reached out to them and said, have you heard of this? They said, no, we've tried everything. We have cabinets full of different things that we've tried. We said, well, what can it hurt? Let's just give it a try, see what her own immune system can maybe do for her.
Right.
Started giving her 4 of these cookies a day. LT, within 4 days, she jumped on the couch. This dog that could barely even walk jumped on the couch. So they called us like, what did you give our dog?
Yeah.
Of course, we were surprised by the tone of their voice. Like, is everything okay? They're like, yes, she jumped on the couch. Could it be these mushrooms? We're like, well, have you done anything else? They're like, no, this is all we've done. We're like, well, then let's keep doing it.
That's
A month later, paw pads growing back in, fur growing back in, eyes clearing up. Zenta lived another 4.5 years.
Oh.
She was almost 20 years old when she was finally ready to say goodbye. So when God showed us that, when we saw what's possible for the body, when it just has the natural support it deserves, that's really when it went from our head into our heart. And we just thought, if we can help one more animal have the same type of experience that we saw with Zenta, it would be worth all of our efforts. And little did we know, dog after dog, cat after cat, horse after horse, we were just getting these amazing stories coming back and seeing all of these improvements. And so we realized really early on the work that God had called us to do was really powerful, and that he was using us to help be a part of the restoration of creation, because we're supposed to be stewards of the earth. We're supposed to take care of creation, and we could clearly see what God was doing. And so we just continued to move forward. A couple of years later, of course, people were seeing all of these changes with their pets, saying, they don't know what a placebo is. They have no clue there's a mushroom in the cookie that I'm giving them, or this green that I'm mixing with their food. So is it possible for us to get maybe some capsules or tablets where you can get the same mushroom support as well? And it's funny because, they jokingly said, well, this was actually tested on people before we gave it to the animals. So we kind of did it backwards. And so that's when they added the human section, and we now have the Enforce capsules along with some other complementary mushrooms to help people with a more targeted approach. And it's just been phenomenal. I know you share a lot. I mean, the stories that you share are just from this community. Right. In just this community alone. So when you look at that compounded and how it's just expanded, we're now shipping to 60 different countries. It's really powerful work. And like I said, we're just so grateful and humbled to be a part of it. And I'd love to say we're so smart and we have some special formulation that we created and patented, but no, this is something that God created, just naturally growing in nature. And all we've done is he showed us how to harness that potency. We give people access to what he already had for us. And it's really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, you guys, we've had so many write in and tell us what's happening with their pets. And on top of that, with the human side, and it's been phenomenal. We've got a guest today who's going to join us, Dr. Jerry. And let me bring him in real quick. Dr. Jerry, how you doing today?
Doing really good. Thank you.
Good. You can just let us know where you're located and how you're associated with Pet Club or how you know about them.
Well, I'm currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but I practice out in California, Southern California.
Oh, okay. Southern California. It's beautiful out there. It's one of my favorite places actually to visit. We've got several folks that I work with that live there, and it's my favorite place to play golf.
It is beautiful. I love it. A lot of friends there. So
yeah. And so thank you for joining us. You've got a testimony today about what's going on with Pet Club and how the mushrooms have changed with your your life and I believe with your pet also. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I had studied traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, so I was aware of the Coriolis versicolor. I was aware of functional mushrooms that we had used. But in fact, I don't get sick often. But in 2008, I did, because I was traveling to India and Nepal, and some of that was involved studying Ayurveda. And I was gone almost 3 months. And I came home, and I had, which I think was SARS, because they were talking a lot about SARS back then. But I did all the antivirals I knew about. Plus, I took echinacea and golden seal and lots of vitamin C and D and zinc and things of that nature. And, every day I got better, just like I expected, and rested and drank a lot of fluids. And so it was just a normal immune system dealing with a virus. But this time around, it was after Christmas this year, it was around New Year's, I got hit with something very strange. I could tell right away my immune system didn't recognize it because it was getting worse every day. And I recalled a friend of mine that said since the COVID era, he had some issues that wouldn't clear out, but he found something that cleared it out. And I called him and said, what was that? And because I'm struggling with something, it's getting worse. I was getting scared. And he introduced me to Kurt and Kristen Ludlow, and they started telling me stories about it. And I said, I need this, because I'm well aware of what the immune system can do, but obviously mine had hit a wall. And so Kristen said, let me send you some. And she asked if we had animals. And I said, of course, we've got a huge dog. She said, how big is he? I said, 155 pounds, large breed German Shepherd, but we were actually talking about putting him down. He was 11.
Oh, wow.
He really struggled the past year. And I was breaking my heart, because he's my buddy. He's my best friend. And I was digging in my heels. I didn't want to say goodbye to him, but I told her about this. She said, I tell you what, I'll send some things for him too, including mush ponies, because he's so big. And I did it really fast. I was amazed how fast they must have sent it next day. I was so happy. But in 2 days, my situation cleared up. But the big deal for me, especially, well, that was a big deal because I felt like it saved my life. But the even bigger deal was I was watching my dog literally age regress. I should say we were watching him. Within 3 months, 2 months really, 2 to 3 months, he had age regressed by about 3 years. He was playing again. He had regrown all his fur, and he had lost a lot of fur. Every time he would eat, he would gag. And when I would palpate his throat, it felt lumpy. So I figured that it was a cancer of some kind, but I didn't want to take him in and put him through it, because he wasn't doing well anyway, so he was on his way out. But now his throat was clear. He wasn't gagging anymore when he ate. And my wife and I would stand there, I remember a couple of months in, just in awe, and saying to each other, if somebody told us that this was possible, that he could look like this again, we would have told him that is impossible. There's no way. So we literally got our dog back, and we got me back as well from the human side, but I'm really happy about it. And I knew some of the mechanisms, and I've never seen results like this with the old remedies we used to use. And I equate it, Kristen's very humble. She's like, you'd like to, say that we did something special, but they did. They have a standardized version, very high quality control. What we were working with just was not the same animal, I can tell you that. So we're blessed to have access to this.
Yeah. What kind of dog did you have again? What was that?
It's a large breed German Shepherd. He weighs 155 pounds. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, he's about the size of a horse. I'm going to send him the mush ponies.
Yeah, the mush ponies. Those are the ones I showed earlier. They're right here in the center. They have the picture of the horse there, right? So they're perfect, right? They used just right for your dog. So that's absolutely amazing. I mean, the products that you have here, I shared with many on my videos. My dog loves the special sauce. Yes. And once she knows I'm going that direction, she's doing flips and turning and all kinds of stuff, and she can't wait. And we watch that just a huge change there. It looks like you guys have a few more new products, Kristen, since the last time we talked. Yeah, Sequoia and some canned dog food and some other things here.
We now have some canned cat foods for cats to have a wet food diet. It's so much better for their system, a wet food diet. That higher moisture content's much better for their digestive system. So we specially formulated that, and it's very balanced in AAFCO regulations. So the strictest guidelines that you can use, we meet them all. It's very important to us. And my cat goes nuts over this. Like this, the minute that I wake up, he's runs over to my door, rah, 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 talking to me. Like, it's so excited to get his food, and he does not stop talking until he gets his food. So it's adorable. And he's a big cat too. He's almost 20 pounds. He's a Maine Coon. So it's
wow.
the size of a dog. Yeah, he kind of follows me around.
Pounds. Good night.
When we rescued him, he was only 4 months old, and I'll never forget, we went to the vet for his first visit, and they go, "Oh, he's a Maine Coon. See that M on his forehead?" We're like, "What's that?" We looked it up. We're like, "Oh my goodness." We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, but he's the best cat ever. So that's very exciting. We also have a new treat called the Chill Doggies for dogs.
Okay.
That has a calming blend of ingredients. So it uses lion's mane for that nerve and brain support. If they have separation anxiety, if they're having seizures or dementia or showing signs of depression or anxiety or anything like that, the lion's mane mushroom, there's so many studies that have been done on how the lion's mane mushrooms helps to support nerve and brain function. And we also use some other calming ingredients like lemon balm extract and passion flower, and even a little organic catnip, which sounds strange because it's exciting for cats, but it actually calms dogs. So Chill Doggies are great. And even for people that are looking for some immune support, we have the Enforce capsules, but we also have some complementary mushrooms that they can take along with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, that if they're dealing with something specific that they're looking to resolve, they can get that specific type of support more than just the immune support. So it really helps them to accelerate their progress. When you do go on the website, there's a mushroom chart on the bottom of each of the mushroom bottles page, so you can see what each mushroom does and how it impacts the body. But it's been really incredible what we've been experiencing. And, we always encourage people, give it a try, because like Dr. Jerry said, you never know. You never, like he said, with their dog, they thought that was impossible. If you would have told them that this would have happened, they would have never believed until they saw it with their own eyes. And that's what I've seen over the last 8 years. I've just seen miracle after miracle after miracle. And so we're really, really confident. If people just give it a shot, give it a try, that they'll be really happy with what happens.
Yeah, the ltpetclub247.com. It's in the description box below, folks. You can click on that link and it'll take you to the site that I'm looking at now with all of the different products that you have. And you can read through them. And I've gone through these. I've used almost everything that you see on this website. And it's been phenomenal for our family. It's changed our pet's life. It's changed my life, especially with me. And I've always had high blood pressure issues. And every day I wake up, it's the first thing I go to. It's my pill of the day, right? I'll take the Enforce. That's this one here, I believe. Yes, this is the one I take every morning. And I'll also take the Restore and also the Plus. And so I've kind of mixed them and matched them for me. And I love it. My wife loves it. And we've just noticed a difference and a change in the way we feel all day long too. So yeah, thank you for that. It's been phenomenal. Dr. Jerry, you said that you were going through something I caught maybe in 2020 when I believe the virus was going around and something had happened to you physically. So I didn't kind of quite capture exactly what you were talking about there. So you were basically not feeling well, Dawn. You were trying the regular remedies, and then you turned to the mushrooms. Is that what I heard?
Well, back in 2008, I was able to clear out with the normal kinds of things I knew about. But this time around, it was something much more sinister, actually.
Right.
And my immune system didn't recognize it, obviously. And that's when I turned to the mushrooms, because I was using all of the old remedies that I was familiar with, but they were not working.
Okay, got it.
Until I added the Enforce, and then I also added some Enforce Plus.
Okay, all right, good. And so, how did you come across when you learned about this, and then once you started using the product? How did you know that something different was happening to you this time, as far as helping you and supporting you in your with this strange illness that was playing out in everybody's lives?
Every day it was getting worse. And the moment it turned around was when I added the Enforce. I added 6 a day of the Enforce and 2 a day of the Enforce Plus.
Got it.
I noticed that day it was a little better. Within 2 days, I was clear. And that blew my mind. But then to watch what happened with our dog, it just was crazy. Because dogs, they don't know about a placebo effect.
Right.
And to see that happening, it just drove it home. And I realized that we have something really special.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Man, thank you guys so much for joining again, and for the reminder of what you guys are actually doing. And yes, Kristen, you guys are very humble about how this all comes together, and that our Heavenly Father's put it, into our hearts and to you guys, your company, and how it moves forward. And man, just to wake up every day with the good news of our nation changing, the good news of our health moving forward, it's just been phenomenal. And thank you guys so much for how you continue to provide these products for everyone, especially with your smile and joy. It's been a great time to be with you.
Thank you so much for having us on, LT, and thank you for all that you do. We're just so grateful for you, and just pray so many blessings over you and your family as you continue to go through and just keep us updated, keep us aware, keep us discerning correctly, because I think right now more than ever, that's where we are right now. Just we need to be asking for wisdom and discernment every moment of every day. So thank you so much for being a light right now.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Jerry, and we'll hope to see you guys again soon.
Thank you, LT.
Suspect's name, Melvin Varela Perez. He's been wanted for 5 murders and is considered a high-ranking member of the gang. But even though he's been on El Salvador's 100 Most Wanted list since 2016, he crossed the border and was released into the U.S. under the Biden administration.
Perez was arrested alongside an associate named Rene Escobar Ochoa, who had a red notice from Interpol out on him when he came across the border. The Department of Homeland Security reacting in a statement saying, quote, "The Biden administration allowed 2 ringleaders of MS-13, one of the most violent gangs in the world, come straight into our country. One of these depraved aliens is on El Salvador's 100 Most Wanted Fugitives list and is wanted for 5 counts of murder. The other has an Interpol notice for drug trafficking. These are the kinds of scumbags sanctuary politicians are protecting and letting walk free on America's streets."
As promised, I wanted to go over a few more things before we close in prayer. One of those is Pete Hegseth is just making waves, right? The DOD just withdrew the nomination of Admiral Michael Donnelly for Vice Admiral and Commander of the 7th Fleet after discovering he permitted drag shows on board the USS Ronald Reagan. That's Pete Hegseth. And by the way, he put out a video yesterday that is just so cool. Instead of standing in his office and talking to all of us, they put together something great to remind us why we've got a great military and a great leader there.
You know what? We know why we were put here. We were brought here to rebuild the military, match capabilities to the threats of today. So while our adversaries have produced millions of cheap drones, before us, we were mired in bureaucratic red tape. Not anymore. In June, President Trump issued an executive order unleashing American drone dominance to bolster our drone industry and arm our warfighters, because that's what we're all about. So today, I'm rescinding restrictive policies that stifle production, and this will unleash American manufacturing and the ingenuity of our warfighters by doing 3 key things. First, we're going to bolster the U.S. drone manufacturing base by producing thousands of American-made products, prioritizing Buy American. We'll arm combat units with a variety of low-cost, American-crafted drones, leveraging our world-leading engineers and AI experts. And third, we're going to train as we expect to fight. Senior officers, well, I'll grab this because it's the memo. Senior officers must overcome bureaucratic risk aversion in budgeting, weaponeering, and training. So here's the memo we're signing today, delivered via drones here on the front lawn of the Pentagon with some of our great warfighters flying them. This is the future. We're in the fight. We're in the fight to win it. And we're never going to back down.
You know, those guys are loving it back there, and they're like, man, we've got a great Secretary of Defense. This is phenomenal. We get to use our tools and show America what it's all about. So, of course, everybody's been questioning what's going on with the chemtrails. When I played this clip from Zeldin, I believe, EPA, he's going to basically state that we're going to have total transparency. The only thing I don't like is he uses the term contrail, which is not a chemical trail. But maybe there's a reason for it legally. I don't know. Bottom line is, listen to his claim, and then we'll go to prayer.
Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency. As a result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. In other words, I want you to know everything I know about these topics and without any exception. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. We did the legwork, looked at the science, consulted agency experts, and pulled in relevant outside information to put these online resources together. Everything we know about contrails to solar geoengineering will be in there. That means anyone who reads through this information will know as much about these topics as I do as EPA administrator. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming? We've endeavored to answer all of your questions at the links on your screen. In fact, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities. The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA. Prior to now, EPA has never been this proactive to raise awareness about concerns with geoengineering and to stop this activity from being scaled up. This is what it looks like when government actually listens to the will of the people and doesn't try to squash it. You can always trust this administration and this EPA to take your concerns seriously, answer your questions honestly, and carry out the will of voters with integrity.
Very interesting, right? I went into the QAGG.news on the internet, and I typed in the word environmental to see does Q talk about that particular word. I actually typed in EPA, but it pulls up everything with EPA in it, like prepare has EPA in it, so that didn't work. So I typed in environmental and thought it was pretty interesting. Hard to swallow, important to progress. Who are the puppet masters? The House of Saud, $6+++4 trillion. You guys know that. Rothschild and Soros. Focus on the above three, right? Public wealth disclosures, false. Many governments of the world feed the I. The I, right? The evil ones. Think slush funds, the feeder. Think war, feeder. Think environmental pacts, the feeder. Triangle has three sides. Eye of Providence, follow the bloodlines. What's the keystone? Many folks have stated that they believe the keystone is USAID. Does Satan exist? Does the thought of Satan exist? Who worships Satan? What is a cult? Epstein Island. What is a temple? What occurs in a temple worship? So the other thing that was interesting was the irregular warfare is far more varied than conventional conflict, hence the importance of an intellectual framework that is coherent enough to provide guidance and flexible enough to adapt to circumstances. So this was posted in 2020, post 4008 on the Q board. There are strains created by globalization, by the collapse of weak state structures, by demographic, and here you go, environmental and economic pressures, by the ease of cooperation among insurgent groups and criminals, and by the appearance of destructive radical ideologies, all augur in a period in which free and moderate governance is at risk. So interesting that those words would appear on the board, and one of them, environmental pacts, the feeder, think about that, and the triangle has three sides, all connected in some way to everything we've been talking about for a very long time. So now let's go to prayer. Heavenly Father, again, we come to you mentally and physically exhausted over the amount of information that has pummeled our brains and our bodies over the past several weeks, months, even years. We thank you for the folks at Pet Club, what they're doing and how you've used them to bring a product that you had on this earth for us, for healing of our bodies and so many ailments that we have. We thank you again for the protection you're providing for the leaders that are on the front lines fighting for our freedom. And we continue to ask for their protection every single day. Help us, Lord, as we move forward in understanding what's happening all around us. May these chemtrails finally disappear. May the attack on our very bodies finally go away. And may we see complete healing for each and every one of us as we move forward and destroy and watch you work amongst fallen folks to destroy these evil ones around us and their plans that they've had for years. May we see it destroyed and have continued comfort and peace each day as we follow you. We ask all this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen and amen. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you if you're here the whole time and getting these updates and with the interview. Hope you guys check out in the description box below, ltpetclub247.com, and watch your life completely change and your pets also. For now, this is LT, Semper Fi, with them we know, signing out.